First one's called The Czar. I read a post from someone who said her great-grandfather played the violin for the Tsar of Russia. My own great-grandfather had also played the violin for the Tsar. My wife said that even she had a grand-uncle who played for the Tsar. I began asking around. Hundreds of violinists. Were we all related? There couldn't be that many Jewish violinists the Tsar might desire, even though everyone knows Russia's a music-loving nation. I counted. The Tsar must have had at least 100,000 Jewish violinists, 1,000 orchestras worth. It must have sounded glorious. It didn't help. And that one's a little spooky. So this one's called Wallace Stevens.
About ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda. This is the other famous one of his, the one about the jar.
Sure.
So, like, you know, there's this anecdote of the jar, and it's in Tennessee, and he puts on a hill, and magic shit happens. So that's kind of about that. This is called Wallace Stevens. Mike called me. I found it. I finally found it. Found what, I said? The collected poems of Wallace Stevens. So, you can find that anywhere. You can find it in the library. Not one bound in human skin, he said. That gave me pause. I looked it up on Bookfinder while Mike was going on about how powerful the human-bound skin edition of the collected poems happens to be. There's 17 available right now on Bookfinder, I said. You can get one in very fine condition for around $15. Oh, sure. Everyone knows that, Mike said. If you're lucky, you might even be able to check out one of those editions from your local library. But that's not what I got, he said. What have you got, Mike? I said. I have the collected poems of Wallace Stevens, bound in the actual skin of Wallace fucking Stevens, with the dust jacket. Really, I said. The eyes practically blink at you, he said. I can't tell you how rare that book is, but I've heard there's something particularly profound about that edition. That the poems had become more than poems, that they could actually make stuff happen, affect real changes in this world. Dominion. I got the tickets this morning. We're heading out tomorrow, Mike said. Anything we want to change in Tennessee, now we can. Imagine what we could do, Bill, he said. We could finally get rid of Mitch McConnell, Mike said, feverishly. We've got the book. We can finally begin to undo all the damage that's been done. But McConnell's not from Tennessee, Mike. He's from Kentucky. Then we'll use the book to make the jar absorb Kentucky into Tennessee. That's easy. If Mitch doesn't have a state, then he can't be a senator. He can't be a senator or majority leader or minority leader. He won't be able to stop background checks anymore. I don't know if that will work, Mike. We have the collected poems of Wallace Stevens, bound in the skin of Wallace fucking Stevens, the emperor of ice cream himself, and no one's supposed to have that, Mike said. Any supermarket in Tennessee has got plenty of jars, and there's hills in Tennessee, scads of them. And I know it's going to work, Bill. It has to work. It's been so long. We've tried everything before, but nothing has worked. It's only gotten worse. But this, it's the collected poems of Wallace Stevens. It has to work. Something has to work. Okay, Mike, I said, because I didn't know what else to say. So this is my last piece, and I want to thank you all. This is called A Song About Dogs. It's about being in a band. We're in a meeting, a long, tedious, thorough meeting, the sort with breakout groups that never break out, and whoever isn't paying attention gets the look. You text me a note. We should be in a band. And while making it look like I'm paying so much attention, I'm actually taking notes. What I'm really doing is typing furiously over and over, oh yeah, oh hell yeah, oh hell yeah. I tell you about this guy I know who was terrified of success. Every time one of his bands started to click, he'd panic. The practices would get longer, and then he'd bring in more musicians, singers, dancers, light show dudes, etc. We eventually broke up when he tried to add this 15-year-old he met at some rave to play tambourine. I'm not like that guy, I say. What sort of instrument do you play? And please let it be drums. We practice and practice, recording everything and jamming until we're able to do the same thing at the same time and then repeat that over and over. We take turns singing, and we don't give our band a name. We're not ready for that part yet. And our songs aren't really songs, just repeatable jams, half-spoken ideas, the musical equivalent of first dates that happen to go really, really well. But nobody is saying love just yet. You say, there's something I want to show you. I think you're going to really like this. And you take me to the arroyo. The riverbed is still damp, with a solid wet clay smell, and we fill several buckets full of earth, lugging them back to your truck one at a time. In your garage, you turn on the heat lamps, but it's still freezing. You still want to do this, you ask? When we're done, after we're both covered in mud and done shivering by the heat lamps just to dry, and we're no longer ourselves, we come up with a song about some dogs jumping through the fog and how beautiful it is to watch the fog dancing around the dogs and how the dogs can smell all of this and their owners can't. The dogs yipping in the fog, which is so much more than fog, and that's the bridge of our song. We're still figuring it out. It might take a long time to figure it out, but we're figuring it out. The dirt smell underneath us, all around us, it's durational. It's so incredibly real. It's a single note. I'm hoping never stops, that it'll keep going for days, slowly getting quieter, feeling that way. But when you make the song turn, I'm there with you. I have ideas of my own, and somehow it brightens, forming chords. We disappear, our owners left wondering where we are. This is a song about happiness. Thank you.